one of the things I've kind of matured into is self-enlightenment for one, but the other one is a person should be happy with their lives and work towards that. And one of the things that we kind of are trapped in the never-ending cycle is conditioning, right? We're conditioned from birth, man. Disney World, Six Flags, or Cinderella, the kings, the queens, the the house, 2 kids, a dog, work hard, get retired. We're conditioned to go down a certain path. And usually that certain path is benefiting somebody else. Big business sort of kind of usually, or people who are trying to benefit off our individual labor. So I just decided to look at us and look at people as individual bubbles. And in saying that, I know it's kind of probably cliche, don't let me burst your bubble, or don't burst my bubble, or these things like that. But I think it's a serious thing that if we pause for a moment and think about what drives us, most of that drive, or what we're driven about, is somebody else's goals or missions. Work hard. Let me work hard. Big business is going to benefit from that. Let me sacrifice. Everybody around you is going to benefit from that. And then when you say, whoa, let me take care of myself so I can sacrifice more, then that's usually an abomination statement. People don't want you taking time out for yourself.
So before you get away from when you was talking about these conditions, so when you say conditions, you mean, so I'm looking at TV and I see that I'm supposed to get a job, go to school, go to college, spend $100,000 on college, get out of college, marry a high school cheerleader, my high school sweetheart, and then get a job building widgets for the next 30 years. And at the end of those 30 years, I retire, get a gold watch, and then die. That's the conditions you're talking about.
Yeah, and be happy that you did that.
Yes.
Right? But we know that's not a Cinderella story. That's usually a scary movie, right? Because we have ups and downs. Ups and downs. We have times where we're alone. We have times where nobody cares. We have times where we're not successful. We have times where no matter how hard we try, we can't get ahead. And that's the scary movie within that conditioned Cinderella story we're supposed to live. So when we look at ourselves and we're not living what's portrayed in media or family internally, it's not a lot of success in that, because look at what we compared it to.
Yeah. So now how is the bubble going to help us get away from this type of thinking, this conditioning thinking that, okay, instead of getting us into, let's see, what can I put in my bubble to make me happy? Make my life more productive?
Well, the first core thing of the bubble is you can't care about anything outside of it. I know that might sound against everything we've been conditioned to believe, but one thing that is true as I see it, right, is that if you care about everything around you, that's taking all your energy first, right? It's going to just suck the energy up. And understand this, if we're feeding things around us, the things that we feed around us care more about getting fed than what's feeding them.
That's deep.
Okay? Deep. So what do I mean by that is, hey, as long as the food, and I'll say food, or as long as the energy, I'll say energy. As long as the energy is coming, hey, they just don't cut the energy off.
But now, what if people look at you and say, he sound like he's being selfish? So, because he don't care about nothing outside the bubble but yourself. Don't feed nothing outside the bubble. Everything you have goes to you. So that's the addiction.
Yes. That's them addicted to the energy you're giving them that they don't have to supply for themselves. Yes. Right? So as they get that fed, they feed it. And then what do we do when we're addicted to something? Hey, I want that, and we start getting withdrawal symptoms. So I'm going to go through any step, any process it takes to convince you why you should not stop giving me that energy. Now, guess what? I'm gonna use guilt trip. I'm gonna use, oh my God, I'm gonna use anything that it takes for you to go back, lie in bed, and say, you know what? Let me sacrifice a little bit more and give them, because I've just been conditioned to believe that I'm supposed to just give. And we are.
Yes.
But we don't give to addictions, right? Because at some point, the folks that are feeding and eating, they gotta give back, right? They should give back something good. But hey, the society or the thing, the way it is today, as long as the good stuff coming, I'm just riding the wave.
Yeah, because even a flower, if you feed a flower what a flower gonna eventually do, it's gonna give back. If it's not gonna give back a good smell, it's gonna give back a good view, But then we as humans, we get to the point where I'm in my bubble, and I decided like what's outside my bubble is more important to me. So I'm constantly feeding everything outside my bubble. And I call them bottom feeders. Once that bottom feeder has drained me completely, and I'm completely drained, that bottom feeder gonna do what? Gonna leech on to somebody else.
Correct, yeah, because they become professionals. They become really good at their craft, right? So now, and you mentioned two things. So you said the flower. So nature in the universe naturally gives back if the process is not interrupted, and if it's nurtured. It gives a fruit, it gives a look, it gives an environment you can breathe with air, right? Now, the unnatural process is just a burn and ash. Right?
Yeah.
That's the unnatural process, and that's what we've been conditioned to do as a society, is burn and ash. No matter what. Now guess what? So I can go into this look, big business, burn and ash, take all the money from the little people and give back crumbs. Right? Friends, family, loved ones. Hey, let me stay in this social group. Why? Because there's a few people they energize, they give the energy, and if I'm around them, they're my safety net. Right?
Yes.
Burn and ash. Right? Now the natural process is, hey, as I inch up, you're gonna inch up. And it's not an option.
Yes.
And I'm not gonna ever let you feel that you don't have a way to always succeed.
So you mean the people the people that I allow in my bubble should be, as I feed outside my bubble, they should be feeding inside my bubble.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's
what feeds me, what I feed feeds me.
Correct. Exactly. Naturally, without request.
Yes.
Right?
Shouldn't have to ask, like, if you're in my inner bubble and I'm giving you this energy, I'm giving you this positive energy, I shouldn't have to tell you to tell me good morning in the morning and how was your day.
And if that's a relationship thing, correct. But also the thing could be knowledge, right? Get knowledge. So if I'm paying attention to you and I'm close to you, I see what you're seeking. I see what your ambitions are. And if I'm ambitious, a lot of this stuff is going to line up, because guess what feeds ambition? Being driven.
Yes.
Driven people know driven people, right? They can identify it, and they usually come together. But the unnatural part is for me to sit back and let you be driven and not benefit. That's unnatural, because it causes a lot of pain.
So that's when it goes to I'm taken, and then eventually I'm not driven anymore because you done took my drive and you didn't do anything with it.
Correct. Yeah. So if you think about the bubble in that statement you just said, if I take all your drive because I'm not doing anything with it, but it's allowing me to ride the wave, and that's the addiction thing again. I'm not going to get off this wave. I don't care who I have to get the energy from. Right? So I just like a plate, a paper plate. I use it to feed myself, and I discard it. And I'm going to get another one and another one. And that's that burn and ash thing I talk about, that, that's abnormal. That's not normal. That's taught.
I just thought about something you said earlier when you brought that up. It goes back to, because you said the paper plate, and we're going to throw this in here, and maybe you can put this in a book and say this was given by Big Easy. But we call it the paper plate versus the China plate theory. So people that you have in your inner bubble, you want them to be China. So when they finish eating off the plate, they clean that plate and they put it back in the cupboard or put it back in the bubble.
Yeah, 100%. That is
Versus
totally
the
true.
paper plate, I eat off of it and I throw it away.
The value is gone.
It's gone.
No.
And then eventually what ends up happening is you're out of paper plates. You're out of stuff to give.
Yeah. And how do you replenish that? You work.
Yes.
So that's taken from you. Then you work. Then you go purchase. Then you give again.
Yes.
And then it just disappears again, right?